Good evening and welcome again to another episode of our Eagles Nest In while we all stay at home, protect the NHS and social care and save lives. We hope you've been enjoying all the videos and all the memories that we've been bringing you, and some great guests as well, as we've had former Eagles players and today joined by some of the off-court staff as well, as we continue to go through the years and bring you memories from the people who were involved with the club, both on and off the court. We're looking forward to having some fans and some more guest hosts on the Nest In over the coming weeks. Our guest host today, who we'll be introducing in just a second, has now spent a decade on the sidelines with our Eagles, and it's great to have him here. The game that we're going to be looking back takes us back to 2010. It's in that 09-10 season when our Eagles, with this game, lifted their 12th piece of silverware since that famous trophy win in 2005. First of all, one of the first guests we had on the Nest In, and we welcome him back, is Dave Forrester, assistant coach for now a decade. Welcome to the Nest In, Dave.
Hello, Dan.
We've spoken to him already on the Nest In so far. It's great to have you back. Welcome, Lynard. Stewart.
Hey, guys. Good to be back. Not much going on here.
And it was actually Lynard's final season with our Eagles, but great to hear some more memories from him. And also in his first season as an Eagle, and was with us for many years. It's great to have you on the Nest, and welcome Joe Chapman.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. It's good to see Big L again. We was roommates for about 2 weeks before he got the promotion to the Holiday Inn.
Dave, if you can, set the scene for us. Take us back to 2010 when we are at this stage in the season on course for lifting that league title. We're in the trophy final right now. We're in Guildford, and it's the Cheshire Jets that are going to be in front of us.
Well, the first thing is there was a bit of a battle to get there that year, because there was a little bit. We ended up, I think, with the end of the season on a 25-game winning streak in the league, and beat Sheffield to win the league. So from January to about end of April, we were a different level to anybody else, both that season and probably a couple of seasons before as well. The team that we had kind of crystallized at that point, but it started off with Reggie and Joe came over, and Bridgie, Darius, Fab, Charles, and Lynard, and then kind of halfway through February, just before the trophy final, we had Drew Sullivan as well, which was a catalyst, and we went off and played some fantastic basketball. But it was kind of a battle to get there. I wasn't actually involved until kind of the middle of the season. I came on the bench in the middle of the season. And, with the team we played in this trophy final, Cheshire, we actually lost to them in the cup. So we owed them one. We lost to them by 3 in an ugly game at Cheshire in that gym. And even getting to the final hadn't been easy, because we'd had to go to Worthing and be in the quarterfinal after we'd already been down there twice. And it's a hell of a long trip. And we lost twice. The second game we lost ended up with Fab throwing a clipboard across the court.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we do. I remember after Joe.
I remember now.
Yeah, and we're off and Fab getting disqualified, and suddenly you're getting kicked out and going to London, and these players who were like Joe Chapman, Marquette, Final Four, Lynard, Stewart, won everything, played in Europe, all of this stuff, from Temple, whatever. And I'm walking in there 3 weeks into sitting on the bench, and I'm suddenly in charge of them, thinking, what the hell am I going to say?
We made it easy.
Yeah.
For a game at London Capital. So Jesus.
Is that when was Fab sitting like in the crowd that game?
Yeah, Fab was like three rows back. He wasn't allowed to communicate with us.
Yeah, I remember that.
The gym was like tiny anyway.
Yeah,
it's basically swapped places, Dave. You went from 3 rows back to being courtside, and Fab took your seat.
Yeah, I always remember that game, because obviously I was panicking about it. It was London Capital, and they hadn't won a game, and I remember I think it was about 5 minutes to go in the game, and we're up by 16 or 20, and for some reason I called a timeout, or maybe they called a timeout, I can't remember, and started talking about what we should be doing. And Earl just looked at me and said, let's just get the hell out of here.
Yeah, it was one of them. It was so funny. I remember Fab being there like we was going to lose or something.
Forrester, sit down, shut up. Let's stop panicking and get on these bus. These guys have got it. And so we had to beat Worthing to get into the semi-finals. Then we had to beat Everton to get to the final of the trophy. And at that time, we kind of just started clicking as a team. And the way the team was, we had, everybody kind of accepted their roles. And we had Joe and Charles and I think either Darius or Drew coming off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
That was, which just basically, our starters came in and did what they were meant to do, and then the bench came in and just blew teams off the court. And I remember we went down to Milton Keynes and played in the shopping centre. I don't know if you remember the shopping centre.
Yeah, I remember that. That was like the first time we played there, and I was like, wow. Actually was a great idea, I thought.
Right.
Get some foot traffic, people just walk by. What's going on over there?
Right.
I couldn't figure out how they was going to do it. But I do remember that game. It was like, that wasn't a bad idea to set up a basketball game.
Yeah,
in the middle of the mall.
For those who don't know, they set up the shopping centre. They set up a basketball court literally in the middle of what would be where the Clip and Climb is in the Metro Centre nowadays, right in the middle of a shopping centre next to John Lewis, and put a little perimeter around it. And it did kind of work. The lighting wasn't great, but we went there and we absolutely destroyed them. We beat them back. We were by about 30 after the first quarter, and Yorick and all those guys, and EJ, and they were a good team. And at that point, kind of realised, oh, hang on, we got a real team here, and it just kicked in. And I think we had to win every game until the end of the season, until the last weekend of the season, just to win the league, because it had been tough right to start with. Mm-hmm. But then the trophy final just kind of came along in the middle of that, and you guys will see the guys who watch the video will see it back. It was very much a team effort. No one played more than 26 minutes, and everybody played their roles. I don't know what you remember about it, Joe.
Yeah, that's about what I remember too. I mean, you're just such a dominant team. You got your top 8-9 players who played at a high level. It's just hard to guard, on a different night. You got multiple MVPs of the league, doing their thing. And like you said, you got, me and Charles, and I think it was Drew that came off the bench. I mean, 3 former MVPs coming off the bench. It's just hard to kind of match that with anyone's, bench. So that's what I remember.
With that, like, it's in a league like that anyway, teams don't have a bench that with such caliber and such stature. So for me, now that I think back, that year for me was like, I knew I was going to be retiring, so to be able to like encourage or just drive other guys to do better, do more out there. I think, like Dave said, I probably scored about 6 points this game and didn't mind it. You know what I mean? I was at that point where I just want to see other guys do good, and we was that type of team. Like, we was unselfish. Like Joe said, Joe can go on a run and make 6-7 threes. Could be Charles, could be Drew. So that's how we just dominated that year. That's why it's probably hard for me to remember games. Sometimes
it was. Yeah.
Some games wasn't that tough.
Right.
Yeah. Well, when we got rolling, it was a great dynamic, because on top of that we had, people did take turns, but people got really comfortable in their roles.
Right.
And accepted their roles, and we all kind of figured it out that it worked. And on top of that, you have guys who don't really want the ball as much as well. So you got Bridgie and Fab, who didn't really want the basketball as much, and D, who D basically lived off Lynard, around the basket, and L taught D a lot of things about what he needed to do, and did that. And so the balance, it always takes a while to get a team kind of balanced just the right way. But I think that kind of just the Cheshire game that we're about to watch is the moment that it kind of was clicking, really well. I remember we actually before we brought Drew in, we had Flinder Boyd practice with us for a little bit. He was going to sign. He got a better offer in Spain, and we got Drew instead. it was, and Flinders at one point, I think, said to me in the practice, "Man, you guys are really good."
Right.
You know,
I remember that.
He wasn't sure where he was going to play. He's going to play me with Reggie? Yeah, probably, but we don't know. You know, so the guys were playing at a really high level.
Yeah, it was like you said, like, and then one of the things that made that season and that team so good is that we all kind of found our roles and didn't even go outside of them, and didn't mind if somebody else, like Joe said, was the MVP for that game or 2-3 games in a row. Nobody minded that. We just wanted to win. I think at a certain point in time, we just focused on like dominating teams on defense. Offensively was just that's going to come because we were so offensively powered. So it was more so like, yo, how are we going to dominate these guys on defense? And
well,
teams couldn't handle that.
Transition threes, you know, in particular. I remember, I think there was a stat, I think, Joe, from Christmas that year, you shot like 54% from the three-point line or something.
Yeah.
Like 80 of 150 or something ridiculous. And Charles was the same. And yeah, it was a really nice group. And I mean, obviously I just started, so, you know, I thought 25-game win streaks were normal.
Right, that's what we normally do.
The real battle came in practice, you know. I mean, if people can really videotape those practices, those were the moments where, you know, a lot of us, you know, got better because you had to go against someone who, you know, was the MVP a year or two ago. And, you know, every day was a war in practice. And that year was super early practices too. So it was like 7 to 9 in the morning. So I know L's used to that at Temple, 5 a.m. practices.
I wasn't
7 a.m. Yeah.
I wasn't.
7 a.m. at time, I used to go in my suit.
Go right to work after.
Drive and get my suit on afterwards.
Yeah, now I do remember those early mornings.
Yeah, and then, you know, we'll watch film right there in time at 2. And it was this, you know, you got your work done by 10. You had the rest of the day just to relax.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, so that year was kind of special. Right. You know, I think I got over there about, you know, maybe about 3 or 4 weeks before the season. Guys already got in. And, you know, it took a while, like Reggie did the year before when you're the only new person. It takes you a while to kind of get adjusted to how to play and everything like that. That's when I came to Fab and said, hey, man, this get me off the bench so I can get used to, you know, every league is different in Europe. You got to figure it out and figure out how to play and what's going to work well for you. But once we figured that out, I mean, I never seen it's only, I can say, the 2011, 2012 team.
Yeah.
We won 4 in a row. Those type of teams don't come that often. And when you're going through it, you don't really celebrate it as much as you should. But you look back on it and say, man, those was a special team and a special group with special coaches.
I actually remember, Dan, just to kind of, these guys won the league, obviously, and we're not going to see I don't think we're going to see a league winning game because we didn't actually have to win the game to win the league. We won the game sitting down whilst I think Sheffield lost to Worthing. But the game that really won the league was about a week before that when we played Sheffield at home on the Sunday, I think. And we played on the Friday night, and I remember Fab saying to us, you know, how are we going to be? Fab was worried about how we were going to be on the Sunday, and we thought, do we need to practice on the Saturday and that type of stuff? And so we went to timeout on the Saturday, and the guys you guys practiced for about 10 minutes. Up and down for about 10 minutes, and you know, I think L dunked on 3 people. You know, and everybody, and Fab just looked and said, "Yeah, we're ready. Let's go." And we're ready. Took the practice over, and we came out. And they had a guy called Mike Cook from Pittsburgh who averaged 27 points a game that year, and I think we beat them by 25 or 30 in what was a game we had to win the league. And you know, if we can find that game, I'd quite like to watch that game back.
Yeah, that was a Sunday game at home.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
which was very rare. If y'all not remember, we rarely played on Sunday. All our away games was on them Sundays normally.
Yeah,
and we always played our home games on Friday. So that was like a rare occurrence, even for us to.
I think
play
it would
at
have
home.
been rescheduled from earlier on. and that's why they could only get the gym on the Sunday. But I just remember, I don't really remember much of the game, but I do.
Yeah, we destroyed them.
I remember the Saturday practice, which was like, hey, why are we here? Why are we here? Let's get out of here. We're ready.
Yeah, we probably was upset to be there on a Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, so we probably all said, I might have told them, yeah, let's get this over with real quick, man. Let's go hard.
It's a Saturday.
Get back and get some rest. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because a lot of things, going back from memory-wise, the only things that I don't remember that much about Els, the way he played, because he was such a quiet, destroyed, did everything right, made all the right plays. And I know you're here, El, but I do remember you dunking on people because it happened every so often. They all just went up.
In practice. Yeah. You know how sometimes you got to remind Darius and those other guys that it's another – Joe, you know what I mean? You know you got to remind guys, it's another level now.
Right.
The first game –
we've been in practice and stuff.
For us, was actually in Norway. It was
we went over to Norway. I remember we went over there in that flight. You remember that flight?
It went up
down.
the airport twice.
Listen, Joe.
I wasn't there then.
First time ever being on a flight where the guy was like, we're going to try this landing over with. He pulled it back up.
Right.
Oh, no.
He went down the land. He said, no, I don't got this right. And pulled it back up and went back around. I was like, yo.
But anyway,
all the flights we've been on. Go ahead, Jim.
The very first play of the very first game, I wasn't coaching. I was sat next to Paul Nielsen watching it. The very first play, the very first game, I had this like 6'4" Norwegian guy guarding him. Kind of caught the ball on the elbow, took 2 dribbles backwards, turned around and just jumped over it and dunked on him. One hand. And I remember
that trip.
And there was that, and we looked at each other. Oh, here we go. This is interesting. And then after that, I think there was a dunk on Sterling Davis. I remember. I might be wrong.
I had to.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember those guys. Like some guys, you might not. Like you say, like I'm very highly competitive with y'all.
Yeah.
But I don't carry that in my everyday characteristics or my everyday personality. But when it comes to the basketball stuff, so I just always felt as though either, especially in games like that, the year we about to play. I just was able to take a seat back. But prior to that, when I first came back into the league, I just think I needed to establish myself in what we were trying to do up in Newcastle, because I had took a year off being in Belgium, going over with Chris that year. So, I would sit and think about, what I needed to do before each game, you know what I mean, and how I could set the tone and get the team, ready to go. And establish myself. So certain guys I knew, like certain teams I knew, like Sterling, all right, if you take Sterling out of it or, you know what I mean, set the tone against him, the rest of the team is going to, fall in line.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Rob Yanders that played up in Scotland when we played against him, even though that was probably impossible with him. But I knew who you had to try to get to and defeat, and you can defeat the rest of the team. So certain guys that was guarding me or was going up against me, I had to set the tone against them. And then, everything else became a little easier.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's right. I mean, these 2 guys, Dan, just so everybody's clear, the people who are watching, with El we played 3 seasons. He won the MVP the first season. We won the league every year combined. I think we only had probably 15 losses in those 3 seasons. With Joe, his first 4 years, we finished first, second. In the league, and Joe won in the year that we won the clean sweep. Joe won the MVP, 2012. So you don't get to come back. You don't get invited back. You don't get to keep playing for teams if you don't have that ability, not just to play well for half a season or to maintain or to play for a quarter of a season or to put a nice run of games together. If you don't have that mentality to play every game and to be consistent about what you do so everybody else around you knows what you are. And that's how you win ultimately long-term, season after season.
Right.
It's developing that consistency of approach. And these guys were masters at it. These guys, you knew what you were going to get. And that sometimes doesn't kind of show on flashy plays and stuff like that. but it shows within the way that the teammate that they play with their teammates and how they make the group better. And at that time in 2000, at this game coming up here, we had a lot of those guys. We had a lot of those guys who'd been around and who would put the time in, year out, and who were playing near their peak. And even having Reggie in his second year instead of his first year helps. And Joe wasn't a rookie. He even, as he said, he took 3 months to get in, to get acclimated. But if he'd been a rookie, it may have taken 12 months.
Right.
So, when we look back at it, this was a talented team, but the talented team is only only made up of its individuals. And the individuals that we had were so cohesive and impressive that we were able to keep them and they wanted to stay, and because everybody likes winning.
Yep.
I think that's probably right.
Yeah.
And it's a credit to the people. It's a credit to the people that they are. And now both of them are having success in America, which is great to see as well.
Right. One of the main things, Dan, is a team like this is when you're playing, like we did, me and Ale overseas in different spots and places, you come to a place where they appreciate winning and they appreciate your style of play, and the coaches that are coaching there and the fans that are there. You got to come to a point in your career that you choose that living over, chasing notoriety or chasing money. You got to come to realize what's more important. And then, you come to a place like that and then you finally see it. Like, wow, this is it. You got veterans, you got people who care about their craft. They put their time into it. That was one of the first years that Fab didn't have to tell guys to get in the gym or, go in the weight room. We're in there already. He didn't have to force us to do things. Scouting reports, Dave give us a scouting report. We don't need to ask a lot of questions on it that year. Like, all right, we got it. That's how that was a mark of a good team. Guys did everything the right way to take care of themselves, on and off the court, which was pretty special.
You're talking about the guys and the rest of the team, Dave, Joe, Lynard, you've all referred to what a great bunch. I want to share this with you, which is our team photo from winning the trophy, a spoiler for the end of the game. But hopefully you guys can all see that and see some fond faces.
Look at Charles. Gee, come on, Chuck.
Reggie, little Reggie.
You see, it was almost. You see, we all look really happy, don't we?
Right.
It's because it was expected.
Yep.
And because of the way that we actually played in that game, and people will watch it. The game wasn't in doubt, and we kind of knew that going into that game. And certainly once the game started, the gap. I say we did. I had no clue because it was my first final ever. But these guys knew what was coming, and they knew how they were going to deal with it, and they just did what they felt they were meant to do.
Yeah, like I remember now just watching the pictures, like it was over about the time that we started thinking, like, all right, who's in place to win this MVP? Now it's about, all right, let's figure this out. I think Chuck was on a roll. Yeah. He always had a knack for big games. Like when it was a final or a semifinal, you don't have to worry about Chuck. He's ready to show up and dominate. That was pretty cool to see. Darius was having a good game. And I think myself, I had like 16 or something like that. And everyone. Yeah.
21. But you got 11. You got 11 threes up.
Yeah. I wish I played in this era. I would have put up freaking 33s.
I don't even know who won MVP that game.
I think it was Chuck. Chuck had 27 and 9.
Yeah.
But Darius had 21
Charles,
in 18 minutes, so Darius probably wasn't far off.
Yeah, that was just a dominant group when you look back. Like no one smiling. Like, all right, man, we on to the next one.
Yeah. Let's take this ride back home.
Right.
Yeah, long bus.
A little bit. Yeah.
Not as far as Worthing, thank God.
Yeah, right.
Lynard, this was your last season as an Eagle. What was it like being a part of that era with the club. Dave's just saying that actually was the start of a decade for him on the sidelines. But obviously, Fab being a huge part of the club for so many years, and being the coach you started playing for. What was it like being in that team at that time?
Well, for me, I kind of knew going into that year that it was going to be my last. I think I got hurt my knee my second season there.
Yeah.
So I definitely wasn't going to, end my basketball life on an injury note, knowing, I still had some in me. So I knew going into that year that it probably was going to be my last year. And so, talked to my wife, and, we was thinking about having another child. So I think, I didn't want to have that burden on her with her being home again besides having the first child. So I knew going into that year. So I took a lot of things to heart. Every moment, little moments I captured in my head, how I played. And like I said, I think, Dave, you even brought up in this game, it seemed like I was just, 2 for 4 or whatever else. I didn't mind that at all this year, especially with a special team and knowing that it could be my last year. So I just wanted to enjoy every moment, and being able to have a special season like we did just made it even better. But, it's always hard saying goodbye to something, especially that's something that you love. And I did for so long of a period. And knowing that I still was able to play.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't retire saying, "Oh, I'm done. I ain't got it no more." No, I retired knowing that because I probably still had 3 or 4 years in me.
Mm-hmm.
But the way the team came along and the younger guys and being able to have an impact, like that was Joe's first year. Like hopefully I had an impact on him as being a professional, which I seen because 2 years later he won the MVP himself. Being around guys like Chuck, who was the same age, and Bridgie saying, having to say goodbyes to them. I think the biggest impact for me probably was Darius. Darius he wasn't young, but he still was like really trying to find himself in the league. So I really was trying to be a huge role model for him that year, and pull him to the side at certain times. And I never told him that, he didn't know, because, between us, well, I guess people won't know now. I think Derek had shed a few tears when knowing that I was retiring and leaving that year. But it just was special. Like, I think one of the best things is that we're still able to connect, with stuff like that with this, and seeing Joe for the first time in a long time, and I'm always kept up with the team and the guys in the league. And I watched the last trophy they just won. I don't know if it was a trophy or cup, but the last piece of silver they just won on Facebook. So, like Joe said, this was a team and organization where you felt, like family. And, this is one of the teams that I still search for, reach for, and I'm connected to. But thinking back now is making me think on, certain games and moments of, that being my last year. But I knew inside, nobody else really knew. So it was special.
Look, Lynard, it's been just awesome to hear your memories. Thank you again for joining us on the Nesting. Joe, really great to see you again. I think wearing 4 in the photo we just showed there, 32 for many seasons after that. It'd be great if it's okay with you to come back to you at some point over the course of the lockdown and hear some more of your memories as we pick up some more trophies and also that MVP that you're talking about as well.
Absolutely. I think this has been great for everyone, just to come and reminisce and see old faces. It's always good to put a smile on your face when we're going through something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And Dave, we're coming into that sort of start of the era with you on the sidelines with Fab for our Eagles. It'd be great to hear from you again, if that's okay, to come back to you and get some more memories, some more stats out of you as we look through all the games we've got coming up.
I don't know if I've got anything left to say now. I think there's a couple of Plymouth games that I will stick in that I might be around for.
Right.
Just
a few.
Just a few. Yeah, no problem, Dan. No problem.
Lots more road trips to talk about, I'm sure. Hopefully, not too many more dodgy plane landings. But yeah, that's great.
He just reminded me of that. He's right.
That was listen, dude, I've never been on a plane that did that before. Ever. Like, we was almost landed, Joe. Like, we was down. The landing gear was down. Oh. He was like, nah, I don't like this approach. Let me go and do this over. We was like, what?
Yeah. I remember
That's not how it worked.
I remember looking across at Chuck's face.
Man, we thought it was over. And the weather was bad. Y'all remember that?
Yes.
The weather was bad, Joe. And it was like snowing. And when he was like, nah, I was like, yo, you got to be kidding me. Not on the way to Norway.
Between two mountains.
Yes.
Very funny. Guys, thank you so much for your time and for being a part of the Nestins. It's been just great to hear your stories and memories. So we won't reveal the score. There's no spoilers. We want everyone to sit back and enjoy this. We're going back to Sunday, the 21st of March, 2010. We are in Guildford at the Spectrum. It's the BBL Trophy Final. It's our Eagles against the Cheshire Jets. You can watch the full game on our YouTube channel if you're watching this interview on our Facebook page right now. Stay home, protect the NHS and social care, save lives, and enjoy the game. Guys, thank you all once again.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Cheshire retain possession.
Come on, Eagles! Put on the knee!
Defense! Cheshire don't get over that pass. Newcastle get the end line ball. 2-7. Sullivan goes inside. Both teams with a run of 7 points. Defense! 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 Shake them back. With the rebound, it's to the Chapman. Defense! Defense! 3 seconds. Third foul against the Jets. First foul on Bridge, third against the Eagles. 2 shots. Chess marks. 14 without reply to the Eagles as Fab Finale gets into the game for the first time. Bridge sits down. Darius to Fo comes in. Smith has 3. Chapman. Rebound. Bit of a floor wipe in front of the Jets. His first field goal takes him to 4 points. Chapman shoots low, gets nothing, knocks. Defense! Into the game for the first time, number 9. And number 4, Calvin Davis for the Jets. Simone. Oh, ball. Goes out of play. Oh, ball. Our ball. He just called it. Defense. 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 Goes to the hole. Gets the whistle. Foul scored number 4, Joe Chapman. Foul number 1 on Chapman. Team fouls against the Eagles. 9 to go.
There's going to be no players left if it continues this way.
Takes the break with 2 points. Well done, Vic. Well done, Sully. Fires with 4 points for the Jets. Let's go, guys. 5 points.
Come on, Eagles! Come on,
Travel called against Floyd.
Good, he's probably.
Defense! 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 Marks goes inside, short rebound to Foe. Did you shut up the shot there?
Eagles! Eagles!
Short from Smith. Marks comes up. Defense! Defense! Gale. Great move from Gale for 2. Gale to 4. It's a 3-point game. Defoe. Darius Defoe. Defense! 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 Defense!
Defense!
Right back into the game. Hustle, defense from Gale. Defense! Marks. Gets the rebound though. In and out for Peterson. Smith pulls it down. First period. 15-20. Eagles shake.
Come on, Eagles!
Foul score number 4. Calvin Davis, second personal.
You're up, Gardner!
Jerry Young sits down. One Darius! Into the game.
One Darius.
O'Reilly coming back in for the Jets.
Who's that? Is that O'Reilly?
Calvin Davis comes out.
Oh,
with 2
really?
fouls.
Oh, O'Reilly! The Irish, well-known Irish international. O'Reilly.
One Darius. Go.
Slow down, guys, slow down. One shot on it. Chapman slows it down. Newcastle looking for the last shot of the period. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
No, leave them alone, they're fine.
15-24, end of the first.
Smith put his arm over. Myers!
Myers with those 3 points goes to 7. Broken up by the Jets. Gale gets on the end of the pipe. Gale to 6. Trims the gap to 7. It was up to 12. Jackson. Jackson. Myers. Defense. 5 rebounds. Myers in the game. Peterson nails his first 3-pointer. Goes for 3. Chapman. Who's supporting the Newcastle Eagles? Great game of basketball here at the Guildford Spectrum. BBL Trophy Final.
Don't forget, no news in the arena. Make sure you support one of these 2 teams. Make some noise as much as you can in this second quarter.
Smith, get it. Gale goes inside. Myers gets the offensive ball. 7 rebounds. Boom! Myers. His first triple goes to 10 points and 7 rebounds.
11 years old, man. Come on.
Charles Smith up to 7. Just turning over.
Well done, Peterson!
Back into the game, Joe Chapman. Jerry Young comes back in. Peterson comes out.
Gale.
Jerry Young and gets the bonus.
Run, Reggie.
Run, Reggie!
Back in, Peterson back in for the Jets. Jerry Young comes out, Chas Marks comes out.
Chas Marks.
Fix the phone!
Hey, club board up.
Myers! Myers!
Free throws out to Forrester.
Sean Myers goes to 12. Captain Cheshire. Sullivan, second foul. 3 fouls against Newcastle. Defense! Defense! Chapman change Jets on
sounds like he's a beard, doesn't he?
That was the 5th foul against the Jets, so we go to the other end for 2 shots for the Eagles.
Normally the point where Mike Davis goes. That's now a 7th foul on the Jets.
Get the curtain sorted! Get the curtain sorted!
Chesmark stepped onto the 3-point line as he released the ball.
The 2-point line.
Yeah, right, Rob. As if he's actually saw what line he was
Absolute rubbish.
Two for Marks, he goes to 6.
What's yours, Would he lose a foul? Got a foul on there?
No, they held 2 up.
3 minutes to go to half time.
Come on, Eagles!
Come on, guys, come on,
Eagles.
Timeout requested by the Newcastle coach. Action here in the Spectrum.
nice one. Let's go. kept it a bit better, Tony.
Where's most of the fouls in this game?
Jerry's the
score, it's not
with 2 fouls. Sean Myers with 2 shots.
Got to watch out for Chester second half.
Myers!
He goes to 14, leads Arrow is pointing the way of the Eagles.
Come on, Eagles! Let's go! Carry on, we will finish this!
Come on, Eagles! Eagles!
Bayern! Bayern! Ready! That's your fourth!
4 on Jerry.
You may see the game out!
Come on, Eagles! Come on, Eagles!
Take us into the time now.
Eagles! Eagles! Eagles!
10! 9!
Myers just missed. Travel
goal against Sullivan.
Good call.
Myers just missed before that, didn't he? Myers just missed.
Defense! 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 Defense!
Calvin Davis in the paint.
Silly foul.
Foul by number 10, Charles Smith. Foul. 2.
Calvin!
First foul.
Fouls on Reggie.
Scored on 21, Reggie Jackson.
Foul.
Third foul on Jackson, second against the Eagles. More importantly for the Jets, it's a stop.
Defense! 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 Defense!
Calvin Davis works hard. Foul is scored on Bridge.
That's funny.
2 shots to Calvin Davis.
Calvin!
That's funny. I thought if you ducked into somebody and hit them, it's not a foul.
No. Because you're going to try to get up the court.
Who keeps an idiot?
Come on, Eagles! Move it around, come on, guys! Eagles! 10, 9, 7, 6, 5, 4,
field goal.
defense!
There's more chance of Chester winning than good to get MVP.
Defense! 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 Defense!
2 to number 5, Cheshire Young. His first points of the game. Davis and Young both scoring now for the Jets.
What? Because he got 4 points.
48-72. 7 minutes to go in this third period.
On him.
Should load into Young breaks it out with his foot.
Come on, next 24.
Eagles with the ball. New shot clock.
Eagles! Eagles!
Chapman.
That was a pass out, mate.
Stewart. Short from downtown. But the Eagles get the ball back from both shots.
Come on, Eagles! Keep going!
Sullivan inside kicks it out. And out from Chapman.
Defense! 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 Defense!
Davis to Myers. Two inside. Sean Myers up to 16 points for the Jets. Down at the other end, it's Joe Chapman still down after falling awkwardly from his shot. Ches Marks back in. Riley comes out.
That's why they're doing
Chapman is
it.
back up.
You've got them on the run, they're frightened of you.
Good to see.
Shake it up.
6:23 to go in this third period.
Come on, Eagles!
BBL Trophy Final here in Guildford. Smith. Foul scored on number 10, Charles Smith. Third foul on Smith. Team fouls against the Eagles. Myers makes one. First miss from that range. 17 points for Sean Myers.
Come on, Eagles! Come on, Eagles, let's go!
Broken up by Marks. Jerry Young. Second foul against the Jets this period.
Come on, Eagles! Let's go, Ed!
That's a foul! 5 seconds in the field. 6 seconds, I think you'll find.
21 points, leads almost scored for the total. 51-76. Foul 2 on Chapman. 2 shots, the Jets. Reggie Jackson back in for Charles Smith. Smith comes out for 16 points.
2 shots, idiots. 2 shots, idiots. Well done.
2 fouls, so it is 2 shots.
That's why your ballers are... It's not saying.
No, it's not.
That is foul.
That Paul, is it? Where's the start to the penalty?
2 out of 2 for Chesmarks. 10 points personal. 5 out of 5 from the charity strike. Newcastle with the ball back. Stewart gets the shot. Pulls down another. Newcastle regroup. Ball goes into the backcourt out of play. Cheshire break that one up. Another stop for the Jets.
Defense! Defense!
Still lots of time.
Jets make some noise if you're supporting the Newcastle Eagles.
That's ball of foot there, man! Defense! 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 Defense!
And the outlet to Jackson. Travel.
He planted his foot!
Timeout requested by Fab Floyd. It's 53.
What is that?
6 to the Newcastle Eagles. Second foul on Myers, third against the Jets in this third period of the game.
Come on, Eagles!
Good work from Peterson. Marks on the end of the quick break. Goes to 12. Gets it down to 21.
Sully. Sully. Oh, Myers.
Scored against
Oh, Myers.
7. Sean Myers.
He's the only person in the venue who actually saw that.
We've been doing it all game, haven't we? It's been a good battle.
Unsportsmanlike is the call. So it's 2 inside lines for the Eagles. He goes to 13. Defoe back in. Andrew Sullivan. 13 points. 55-78, 3.5 to go in this third period. Pass inside to Defoe.
Oh, how can you call that, man? You nugget!
Stewart sits down 2 points.
It's like
Might see the game out, young.
2 out of 2 for Cheshire Jets. 100% from the line for him.
no pressure next time. Come on, Eagles! Go on, the bright little Joe, man.
Go on then.
10, 9,
Shot blocked. Checks him up. Back into the game, Stephen Gale and O'Reilly for the Jets.
Played 9 minutes. He played 9 minutes.
Who's it?
It's Gale.
fine line.
The arrow is pointing away off the Jets.
What's Miles? Illegal screen!
Chapman to Jackson, fakes it inside. Smith.
Oh, Colin O'Reilly.
Put in from O'Reilly.
Well done, Joe!
Smith.
Well done, buddy, yes, Joe!
Good, Charlie!
Good, Joe! Hey! Oh, surprising touch-up. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe, man. Get your breath in, Joe. Joe's got that, right?
1 out of 2 for
Defense! Defense! Defense!
his second three-pointer. 2 points.
Well on the clock.
Sean Myers.
bail out.
Foul is called on number 12. O'Reilly. 2 shots to the Eagles.
Supporting the Cheshire Jets, get behind your team for the last 10 minutes. If you're supporting the Eagles, get behind 10 minutes of this BBL Trophy Final. Jets with a terrific comeback in the cup final.
First against the Jets.
Another shot, Gale, he might score.
Myers, the first player in the game to a double-double, 22 points and 12 rebounds. To the Chapman veteran, 3-time All-Star former Leicester. Charles bits and pieces on the floor, it might be an idea to...
Why no? Just leave them.
Make space, Jack Marks! Create space, goes to 14.
Charles with that.
One in the yellow.
Back in for Gale.
Had a black shoe on though, that counts.
All right, there you go.
3:24 seconds for the Jets.
They get confused so easy, you know.
Defense! Defense!
Oh, Shaw Myers inside for 2 more.
Oh, baby!
24 points and 12 rebounds for Shaw Myers.
Yeah, it's a team game though. Nice rebound now. Come on, Eagles, let's move it.
Smith.
Chess marks. Third.
Chess marks. Third personal. Second against the Jets in this last period. Into the game for the first time.
Like I want.
It's not over till the last buzzer. Come on,
No, it's on Jackson.
Foul score 21, Reggie Jackson. Foul number 4 on Jackson.
Come on, Eagles! Come on!
It's a bit early for Aaron. You take Aaron off, it's a bit early.
Defense! 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 Defense!
Jets get
Keep it close!
6 minutes to go.
Defense! 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 Keep it close now, come on! Use the clock!
Nielsen to Bridge.
Bridgie, down on the seat.
Number 10.
Hi, Bridgie.
Charles Smith.
What did he do?
Hand in the
Joe Chapman back into the game. 27 points.
Defense! Defense!
on the right.
Timeout requested by Paul Smith, 77-102. It's the Eagles with 5.5 minutes.
5.5 minutes is a long time in basketball, so don't forget, get behind your team for the last 5 minutes, 46 seconds. If you're supporting the Cheshire Jets, make some noise for the Jets. If you're supporting the Eagles, make some noise for the Eagles.
Myers goes inside, gets a whistle.
Come on now, and you can pick it up!
Foul number
I think he's done a lot more time than
fouls against the
Eagles.
Eagles.
Many fouls in the last
Well done.
To Chapman. Big rebound. And the putback from Defoe doesn't get the drop.
Well done. Come on, slow down. Slow down.
Riley gets a piece of it, puts it out.
That's silly for that. 12 seconds.
Come on, lad.
Come on,
5 minutes of this fourth period.
Come on, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
Too close to that one.
Why can't you just put it to it?
Marks. Boom.
Lynard Stewart back in for Andrew Bridge. Bridge sits down with 7. Tackling for Marks. Marks is down with 14.
No, he went for the ball, I think.
No, he didn't. He ran across them.
Went for the ball.
Yeah, which ones,
Exactly.
Bugger.
Does it matter with these referees?
Come on, Eagles!
He went for the wrong side anyway.
All right, a minute left. Come on, Eagles! Come on, Aaron! Aaron, come on!
Oh, Aaron!
First personal.
Come on, lad.
2 shots.
Oh, yeah, I know. But he shouldn't have been there, he should have done.
Should have caught the ball instead of.
No panic, Aaron. Come on. I said she should go to the highest score. Put it right down.
See the go. Makes them both. Goes to 13. Peterson with his 4th foul. Team fouls now against the Jets. 4:24 to go in this 4th period. Chapman comes out, Smith back in.
That's all right, do you, man?
Come on, guys. Come on, Eagles.
Peterson wide open from Smith. Doesn't get the drop. Meyer.
Defense!
There's the rebound.
Defense! Defense! Defense!
Foul is called on 15. Lynard Stewart with his
What?
first foul. 2 fouls. 2 shots. Against his own rebound, throwing it away.
No, he gets it.
throw with his fourth.
Reggie back.
To be sure, you're not going to hit it.
So you shoot!
Jackson comes back into the game.
O'Reilly, I know your brother O'Reilly.
O'Reilly, 3 out of 3 from the charity strike for him.
Well done. You're very
2 out of 2
sorry.
now, is it? Jackson.
Come on, Eagles!
Smith, wide of the mark.
Defense! Defense! Defense!
Shot from Peterson.
Throw it down.
Sullivan heading to the exit.
You seen the
Foul
score?
scored on 2-0 for Peterson.
Oh, you
For Peterson. Into the game for the first time, number 10, Johnson.
Johnson,
For the Cheshire Jets.
Who the hell? When did you say John Simpson? What, sorry?
Ex-Eagle.
Ex-Eagle. Yeah, but it's
Simpson ex-Eagle. Trouble.
Travel scored against Lynard Stewart. Nielsen back in for the Eagles. Charles Smith back out. 27 points.
Just a reminder, please stay in your seats at the end of the game because the
O'Reilly gets the leg, gets the ball, next player. Goes to 14. 2.5 minutes to go.
Come on, Eagles! Come on!
Still out. Sean Myers. Sean Myers.
Sean Myers gets called for his fourth foul. 2 shots for the Eagles.
You see my phone coach there?
Come on, Sully. Get them in this time.
One song. One Sully!
Nielsen with the pass to Sullivan. Just
You have no idea, Rob.
Tremendous team!
Come on!
Defense! Defense! Defense!
O'Reilly inside gets 2 more. Pulling O'Reilly to 16 points.
Come on, Eagles!
Second highest scorer for the Jets.
Eagles! Eagles!
The hell did that hit?
Scored by John Simpson.
Harvey might his first. His first. So he just come on. I've got him down at 14, I think.
He's gone down as 14, no?
Oh, it's because that's Heats numbers. I've got a 7.
Come on, Aaron! Let's go, Aaron! Defense! 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 Defense!
Sean Myers to 28 points, game's leading scorer.
Not bad, because we're in the lead.
Rebounds in the most half.
Come on, Eagles, that's it!
The captain of the Cheshire Jets didn't get on the floor this afternoon. Number 21, James Hamilton. And the rest of the Cheshire Jets team, number 4, Calvin Davis. Number 5, Jared Young. Number 6, Phil Brandreth.
good stats,
Ladies and gentlemen, your appreciation for the runners-up in their second final this season, the Cheshire Jets. And now, the winning team. Chapman.
Oh yeah, I mean, it just took us a little bit of time to get going into the game. I mean, once we started getting stops, I mean, that made us, we was able to get out and run. And we know about our offense. We got enough talent on the offensive end to score points. But it's all about the defense, and that's what stepped up today. Exactly. So, I mean, we got the stops, and we was able to get out and run and get easy shots. And that was great. I mean, that's what we do. Oh, yeah, I mean, as long as we keep doing what we do, I see it's going a long way. I mean, we just work very hard. I mean, we're going to celebrate tonight, and then we got right back to the league on Thursday. So.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, we came down, we had one goal in mind, and we just said that we can come in and play the way we've been playing for the past month or so, you know, or 2 months, and you know, we had a good game. Some of the shots that they had didn't go, and we just I think we played like an extremely good defensive first half, especially in the second quarter, which pretty much blew the game open. And from then it was just a matter of maintaining what we had to do in the second half. There's some things that I could have done better, but you know, at the end of the day, it's not. The game was more important than myself or my performance, so I'm not worried about it too much. I mean, I think the confidence in the team is extremely high right now. We're in first place in the league. You know, if we keep playing like this, how we played today or for the past few weeks, I don't see why that will change. I mean, we've got some tough games ahead of us, but I think we're all up for the challenge.
Oh, definitely a good win. We came out, we played hard from the beginning. We showed great competitive nature, and we really outlasted for 40 minutes. We played hard for 40 minutes. Yeah, we really didn't look at the score. We just wanted to go out there and play hard and play together. And we just wanted to keep the score coming and keep pounding the points the best way we knew how. Oh yeah, we're looking forward to it. We're in good form going into the finals, and we just got to keep it going into it. Yeah, I think I played great. I had 21 points. Sprained my ankle a little bit, so that affected me the second half, but I still played hard, so I think I played pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic win. Happy that, you know, we're able to retain the trophy. You know, we played extremely well throughout the basketball game. I have to say, well done, and commiserations to Cheshire. You know, I think they played fantastic. I would hate to think what would have happened if James Hamilton would have played, because they was missing a key player. And I think that would have probably made a big difference in the basketball game. Not necessarily saying that they would have won the game, but I know it would have made a huge difference. For us, you know, it's about celebrating this, keep it going, because we have the league to contend with, and we want to try and make it as many many competition finals as possible, trying to keep the cabinet as full, you know, and keep winning and on to the next one and on, and as many as we can possibly can. So, you know, thank you to all our fans for the support, and, you know, I'm just happy at the moment.